Hello, people of the internet. It's your boy, Guinea Penis. Another replay, not fresh anymore. Quite, quite some days and weeks ago, but it was a Harugumo replay. My personal highest damage in Harugumo, which is quite funny because for like a year and a half when it got released, I always tried to get finally a 400k game. I mean that's years ago, 7 years ago, 6 years probably by now. And I never got it. Only always got like 350, 360. Then again, back then you didn't have arms race, and obviously there was less HP in the game. But then again, sometimes, like here and there, I played another Haru game. Now it's funny that I just whoop it out and I get a 400k game. But you can already see the matchmaking, obviously prime. I mean, we do have to deal with a lot of torpedo DDs. It's 4 torp DDs, but then again, it's a 6 BB game. None of the BBs have hydro. I mean, you're not a torpedo car per se, but having the ability to throw out 12 torps that are pretty hard hitting and widely spread is quite good, especially when you can get into broadsides of battleships. Kind of what I like a lot about Harugumo, that you have guns and torps. But yeah, it's the OG Daka ship. Back when it was released, like probably some remember, like Akizuki was in the game, but the tech tree stopped at tier 8. So like you could only get an Akizuki, and that was the end of the tech tree. And then at some point they obviously released Kitakaze and Harugumo. Back then, pretty much stronger ships than now, because you had old IFAG, which meant you only dropped. I mean, originally you had old Demo Expert with plus 3%, but old IFAG, which only gave minus 1% or minus 2%. So basically, you had higher fire chance if you spec for Demo Expert and IFAG at the same time than base value. Now with the IFAG removing 50% of your fire chance, so having it, these ships, generally also like tier 10 ships, tier 10 cruisers, the cruisers that pen 30 mil or below, or the DD here that pens 30 base, like you don't take IFAG anymore because the trade-off between fire chance and penetration isn't really worth it anymore. Also, if you look at the matchmaking, like you still pen the cruisers with Harugumo, and the battleships, none of them you would really start penning. So unless I'm super close to them and I can target nose and ass, I wouldn't get any value out of the increased penetration against most BBs. I would just lose out on a lot of fires that I kind of need. Like small caliber ships or lower penetration HE spammers go through fires more. Obviously courtesy also of the non-fire prevention. If every BB would run fire prevention, or if they like probably gonna do that at some point, I would assume. They bake in fire prevention into the game so that every BB has it by default. Then you could maybe talk about some IFAG builds again, because if there's only one section you can set on fire midship, the penetration would probably be best. Because like the fire chances these days are so high that you technically still set enough fires with IFAG. Thing is, you just kill battleships way faster if you get multiple fires. Also in this game, I think it's gonna be like nearly a double Videra. Like a lot of these battleships don't run fire prevention, therefore being able to spit more fires is really good. But yeah. Since there's no radar, no carrier, no nothing really, I just go into the middle. Obviously also the strength of a gunboat like Haru against torp boats is that close range, these ships can't really fight me without, like I would be able to out DPM them quite easily. In my opinion, also Harugumo in that sense way more balanced and kind of fine than ships like Sherman. Sherman, for example, is basically a Haru that trades, yeah, the like torpedoes. Like you don't have torps really anymore on Sherman, and it trades it to get like way more effective DPM, just because your arcs are crazier, your fire setting is insane, your sap, if you pen the enemy, rips it apart. Your trading versus DDs is way better in the Sherman because of the sap, and obviously you have Hydra and the long smoke. So the biggest downside of Haru is sitting in a smoke means you're always open to torps. Haru also in that sense power crept twice over the years. First of all, there's more insane gunboats against you, with better arcs, better DPM. I mean, originally when Haru was released, Marceau wasn't even in the game. Stuff like Sherman didn't exist. Ragnar, Smaland wasn't even out yet. I mean, it was right about the time afterwards where Marceau and Smaland were also introduced. But I mean, a Sherman or Ragnar. To be fair, like Ragnar, you actually do really well against. Ragnar close range knife fighting against Haru is pretty bad, just because you have a better DPM and you don't care about its 25mm plating. But yeah, you have more gunboats, you have more radars in general. Like there's stuff like Brisbane, Nevsky, Petros, Moskva, lots of 12 cams, lots of also 10 cams now. You also have like the Svea types are also not really helping gun DDs that need smoke, like that don't have a heal, that are fairly clunky and want to use smokes. Svea also gets torps, which is yeah, the biggest power creep. Like there's a lot more torp boats like Haaland that can spam your smokes with very fast, kind of undodgeable torps. So like and people still play a lot of Shimmer, a lot of, as you can see here, also like Gearing, Fletcher, and it doesn't really matter if they play them int heavy a lot or pretty bad in a lot of situations. There's just more torps, and the torps are a bit more threatening. Also, because there is more DPM, more radar, you can't really run it down into the torpedo boat anymore instant to kill it. That was like something I did back in the day. So like, well, I wanted to farm more damage in Haru, also win the game, but kind of like dictate the flank. So what you want to do is you won't want to AFK and then wait for smoke opportunities, smoke up and then farm. While the DD is still alive and able to torp your smoke, because you're not going to be having a nice time in the smoke. You're just going to be torped out, or you always have to constantly think about the torpedo angle that the torps could come from. So what I did is like, well, you obviously use the high DPM, decent conceal, 6-2, and large HP pool that Haru has, to basically get rid of your torpedo boat in the beginning. Like just run at it, kill it, trade half your ship for it, doesn't matter. Afterwards, there's no torp threat, you have smokes, you have torps, you don't get outspotted anymore, so now you can go for torpedo angles, now you can go for smoke setups. Yeah, well, that's kind of what I did. And to be fair, it works quite well. I mean, by the way, here I'm just like sitting around wanting to torp, and I hope that I could kill the Fletcher when he comes around. And then suddenly this Fletcher decides to randomly smoke up for some fucking reason. I have to open water shoot in front of 50 BBs. They take half my HP away in an instant, while eating torps, by the way. I hit like 3 torps here, and 1 BB also crippled a gun. So like now I'm basically a Kitakaze, not a Harugumo anymore. I lose a turret. But yeah, I mean, gotta get rid of this Fletcher. The situation was kind of fucked. Hope that it would play out a bit better, that he just turns out on the rock, runs off and away. Instead, he randomly smokes and starts shooting all the time. The guy was pretty confused. So was I after what I seen. But I mean, I got rid of him. Now there's basically no torp boat or DD anymore between A, B. So it's only the 2 torpedo boats on C. As long as they leave me alone and don't come into spawn, I can just smoke up now and later on again. And I can also just herd battleships into spawn and torpedo them. Interestingly enough, I'm also getting blind fired now, but yeah, I'm setting fires over fires. Obviously I hit some torps, so these people don't have DCPs anymore, and we're herding battleships into spawn now. That's what we do. Sadly losing a gun, obviously, so losing a bit of DPM. Could have had a lot more damage here if the battleships aren't all ready, but I mean there was nothing else to shoot. The battleships are all sitting in spawn. My entire team was either unspotted or too far away, so the moment I got spotted, everyone just shot on me, but like, whatever. At least you can draw 30,000 HP, or like you can draw from an HP pool of 30,000, which is quite a lot for Haru. But like, unless you eat torpedoes, you actually have a lot of sustain against other DDs, especially since your concealment is pretty good. Like, you wouldn't run Ledge Haru if you play solo. You would always use the 6.2 concealment. It's really good, because like putting gunboats with high DPM at 6.2 is always a bit sketch for every other torpedo boat. Yeah. But yeah, as you can see, tons of battleships in front of me. Also get a lot more torpedo hits, a lot more spotting. This game is also a great showcase of if you're just like patient, it doesn't really matter what type of torpedo boat you are. As long as you have good torps and you're patient, you get into your angles, you will hit a lot of torps and it will be massive game impact. Which will exactly happen here. Like I hit 3, now the main eats a bunch, and then later on the Yamato eats another set, or like 3 torps I think as well. So we're gonna end up with a lot of torpedo hits, a lot of damage through that. which is quite nice compared to like Sherman or so. You actually do have the torpedo threat, which by the way also allows you to play closer to the enemy if they don't have hydros and radars, and it also allows you to play more on rocks because you're not rushable. Like as long as you keep your torpedoes, it's very, very hard to rush a Harugumo. The torpedo alpha is obviously IGN, it's over 20k, and you have 12 torps at the ready if you keep your torpedo reload booster too. But yeah, quite a nice ship, OG gunboat really. Like it was kind of the first one, or like the Aki Kida Haru line, first one that brought heavy Daka from DDs into the game. Until these days, still misplayed. I mean, you see a lot of torpedo spec Harugumos and Kitakazes too, which is kind of weird. For the tier, I feel like Aki and Kida are still in a better, or are now in a better spot. Mostly comes down to also like the hull. Like you get an additional gun, which means plus 25% DPM over Kida. But your hull is so fat and large that obviously you're an easier target too. More sluggish, more torpedoes. Thankfully, they nerfed Kitakaze in the past years. It was already a long time ago as well, 4 or 5 years. Originally, Kita had, what, 5.8 or 9 conceal? So, like, Kitakaze was basically on par with torpedo boats in terms of concealment while having this insane DPM. Thankfully, they nerfed it down to, I think, 6.1 now, something like that, which doesn't really mean that much because in the meantime we got these horrendous spotting delays on the server. Like the visual cue of someone being spotted and stuff is so delayed that 6.1 concealment on Kida is totally fine. Like, yeah, they nerfed the concealment, but it still plays the same way. It's only Wargaming manages this. But yeah, kind of cool. Also in this game, for example, I mean, you could technically go for the torpedo boats, but if you go for the torp boats here and sea, you'd basically allow all the battleships to run back into the map. There's always like this this upside of just existing in front of battleships as a torp boat / smoke farmer. Like if you just show yourself, I mean like kind of play around them and they know you're there, they're very reluctant to repush. It's the same way like keeping people spotted, sending a bit of torp. Yeah, you're just zoning out BB monkeys and cruiser monkeys a lot these days. Also, if they run it down, and turn it back, they run it down fully. So like either they stay in kite perma or they run at you perma. There is no in between anymore with the battleships really. So yeah, just staying up here is probably bigger game impact than unironically going into C and for the DDs. To be fair, after I smoked the second time, I also lost a lot of HP in my smoke. So a 7.5. Well, it would be a 1-for-1 trade against most of those destroyers. Like it's not really something I want to take anymore and get away with. Probably like if just one battleship shoots me. Or the DD is too healthy, I just get traded. But instead I can just sit up here, torpedo and spot. Obviously hope that my team is not fully inting. I mean, they are going to lose a lot of additional ships. I will also not be able to farm a lot more damage because it's either I go for more damage and greed, we probably or could lose, or I just stay like dark, look for maybe another torp angle, or only poke the enemy if the enemy is distracted. And play it pretty safe. Yeah, it's just like a trade-off. Do you want more damage, or do you just want to have the win? Actually, as you can see here, we're ending up with 9 torpedo hits, and it's going to be a lot of torp alpha in the damage here. But yeah, now you just run away because, like as I said, either they permakite, and now they basically took the decision to run it back into me. So yeah, and also at this range, you don't want to open up. I don't have smokes anymore. Don't play Superintendent. It's kind of like 19 out of 20 games you wouldn't need the 4th smoke, and obviously here in this extremely long game with a lot of BBs and stuff, obviously if I had another smoke here, I could go super close, smoke up again, farm a bunch more. Maybe, just maybe, if the Monty, for example, would have come back to me, could have had like a 500k game, but that's spilled milk under the bridge and you don't want to have to talk about it. You can see here now they're like, I gained some distance, the guy is focused on the Colombo now, so now I'm going to shoot a bit. We basically milked those battleships for all their heals. I was never able to really finish them off. If I could finish them off, I did, or I tried to. Like I didn't really let them live on purpose. There was just too many of them, too much HP. Like, if you greed for even more damage, you're probably going to end up losing the game. Not only because you could die, but also because the enemy BBs would never die. But hey, we have the PDF car behind us with the sap as well. So he's able to click some people into the ground now, and I think the game ends up with us potentially losing, but the enemy is too incompetent to go back into B. I mean, the Monty is still fucking around on C. That guy is wild anyways. He was poked by me in front of B, kited permanently in spawn, ate like I think one torp or some shit, and then continued fully AFK into the only cap they possess. Quite funny, as I said, like either the BB's permakite or they turn it around and run fully at you. There's very little in between these days, and generally being alive as a DD in front of them makes most Battleship players not play the game anymore. It's quite funny. Also probably a reason why torpedo boats aren't buffed, right? Like a Shimmer, a Gearing, a Haaland, they're not that good. They're not that good. Like, I mean, sure, you have a lot of spotting and some torpedo poking. Like, most of their game impact comes from first enemy DDs inting a lot. So if you just stay alive, or if you just use the stupidity of the enemy DDs, you can already get a lot of game impact, and also like just your presence and spotting. Doesn't even mean you deal a lot of damage. It's just like people fucking ignore these ships. It's wild. Like, not ignore. They don't want to play into them. Like, you just existing makes the enemy not play. But yeah, obviously, like if I can use the islands here and Monty stays lit, I could have farmed a bit more. But hey, what am I complaining about? 419k. Kind of a quick game. Obviously, perfect matchmaking. You can see like 17 fires. It's really important. If you play IFHE, that would be half. I mean, on paper, that would be half. Maybe you're a bit more lucky, you get a few more than half. But yeah, the fires are definitely important here. Also on Harugumo, you have the trade, or like the synergy with the torps and the floodings, or engine damages and the fires as well. So I wouldn't go IFHE ever. But yeah, Harugumo, still a decent ship if you know how to play it. Bit more challenging and difficult these days, but for sure with AFT Fearless Brawl. Also like the Fearless Brawl, by the way. I would always recommend taking it, because if you go for a DD fight or a DD trade and you want to kill the enemy DD, you're always like lit, because you run at it, you try to trade it, which means you want as much DPM as possible while you're lit to kill it, and then you disengage after. Having 5% more DPM in a smoke doesn't change your game impact that much. You will be able to free farm, or you should choose your smokes in a way that you free farm anyways, so 5% more or not doesn't matter, the damage is free and you have 3 smokes. So that's fine. The Fearless Brawl basically means you can keep more HP if you go for DD trade. So I kind of like those specs more. I do the same on Regulo. So like on Regulo, you're kind of forced to sometimes just run at a destroyer, kill it, and then afterwards you get to smoke. It's the same logic as with Napoli. It's the same logic as with Haru. Obviously on Regulo Napo, it's easier to do because the smoke is instant and it's a fuel smoke. So you can just move around further. But it's always like that. You run at the enemy, you try to kill it as fast as possible, you accept that you lose HP, but you want to mitigate as much, or like you want to reduce the amount of HP taken in return as much. And how do you do that? Well, you just kill the enemy faster and then you can smoke after or turn away. But yeah, not the highest amount of XP. Obviously, DDXP is nerfed into the ground, and this is all torpedoed, all battleship damage, or most of it. I mean, there were not even cruisers. You can see here we milked the battleships quite a lot. All the PBs. I mean, I did kill like the Inting Gearing, and I also killed the Fletcher. That's why it's actually 2.8 base. DDXP has been nerfed so much that if I wouldn't have killed those DDs or done damage to them, I got 0 kills, which is funny. I would have had way less. And detailed report, I mean, you can see torpedo damage 127k. That would already be a really, really good game on most DDs. Oh, it's not only a double Vithera, it's actually nearly a triple Vithera. It's 166k from fires. And also all those battleships, as long as I'm not like 4, 5, 6k I'm close and I can target nose and ass specifically, all those BBs have 38 mil. This one here has deck armor too. I mean, Yamato has 32 sides, so you would pen that, but the deck is 50 or some shit, like you don't pen that. So all of those BBs really, like you target superstructure and you wouldn't pen this deck or side anyways. like just having the fires is better. For the everlasting debate if you should take IFAG, no. Like it's not only the cruises where you don't take it anymore, unless you go for some, I don't know, weird comp spec where you want the IFAG Salem penetrate the Petropavlovsk or something. You don't take IFAG on any cruiser, you don't take IFAG on any destroyer, unless, again, competitive, like maybe you run an IFAG Khabarovsk into Ragnars. Like if you have a lot of Ragnars against you and you play IFAG Khabar, you obviously get a lot more damage out of that. But it always comes at a cost on Gandinis because they're pretty point starved. So like you have to drop another really important skill or some shit. It's a trade-off. Don't run IFAG. The only ship where you run IFAG is basically Schlieffen at this point. The skill is dead. I don't know why people take it so much. But yeah, kind of a cool game. I still like the ship. I also feel like it's a very it's hard to get a lot of damage out of it. Like obviously you're looking for a lot of damage on such a gunboat. But it's very comfy to play still, decently comfy because of the concealment. Like 6-2 concealment is very nice. If I had to choose, I would just run a Sherman though. Like a Sherman is even more comfortable. Like you get easier, like your shells at 15 kilometers travel way faster, arcs are way better, you hit everything, your sep DPM against DDs is way better, and obviously the big upside is you have a hydro in the smoke, so you don't really care about torpedoes. And also like when you're in the cab, you always zone DDs away from your own smoke, because the moment they enter hydro, you kill them. Haru doesn't have all those tools. You can obviously tell it's an old destroyer. We power creep everything that's old. We make something easier to play with that isn't only easier to play, but also has higher payoff. So that's the crazy part about Sherman. Kind of higher payoff too. You get way more average in Sherman. Haru, you get like 140 to 150. I would say Sherman, you can get 170, 80 if you're really griefing for it. Yeah, even though you don't have the torps. Well, hope you liked it. Just wanted to share it on YouTube. See you in the next video, and adios.